Hello, sculpture class. This is kind of a little update on today's class. I want to do a screencast and get to you guys. I'll send it to you email and I'll put it on Schoology as well. Just a couple of things real quick. You'll see right here, Object 1 Abstraction Series is due. It says 9/24. This can be not. You can also turn it in tomorrow. So one of the things with that abstraction, if you have some questions or concerns, please email me. The other thing is too, after you do your first object and you're moving along with it, you might decide to change paths. Okay, if you decide to do that, you want to do it expeditiously. If you wait on it and until like Monday or Tuesday of next week, that might be too late. So if you want to change your mind, that's fine. You just got to let me know. Okay. Now, here are some of your due dates right over here. You'll see that next Wednesday your series is due, and I think what I'll probably do is I'm probably going to move that to Thursday, okay? In your learning set, make sure you complete everything in the learning set. And I wanted to show you this one as well. I have a video that I'm going to show you in this, there's enough room for it, on modeling with plasticine, okay? This is a video that I made this morning. And it just gives you some do's and don'ts as far as using the plasticine, okay? I want to show you also this presentation, and this is on the different things that you can do with plasticine and basically the technique. I want you to notice the finish on these sculptures. This person here is carving cracks in, and what he will end up doing is cleaning up, like you can see that area right in there. He'll end up cleaning that up, and that is what my video is on carving with plasticine. Here are some other examples of sculpting in that medium, and I want you to notice the detail. And as one thing about plasticine, it does give you good detail. You've got to be careful though, because if you don't clean it up, it'll look kind of sloppy. Okay, this is intentional here, but if you wanted to, I wouldn't even say that. It almost looks like it's a sculpture in progress. This needs cleaned up, and these are just pieces that they're actually adding as they go. Okay, now, as far as what to do with your series, let's say you have that first object and you got that one done. What are some things that you can do for an abstraction? You can modify the shape, and basically what that means is you're making partial or minor changes to improve it or make it less extreme. So what you might want to do is, let's say you do that first sculpture and you got a lot of detail in it, you can start to modify it where it's less extreme. Very similar to simplification, and that's the technique of reducing the composition only to the essential elements. And you've seen that in a couple of the ones that I showed you guys from last year, where they simplified it. In some cases they went to cubism. Another thing that you can do is alter its proportions. And this basically, what you're doing there is you can change the size. You can go from big to small. The other thing that you can do is lengthen or widening the parts of the certain parts of your original sculpture. And then this last one, some of you might want to go in this direction. Visual metamorphosis. This is a term we use to indicate shape shifting in art, and it allows the artist to transform a shape representing one item into a similar shape representing something else. This in turn allows one meaning to be hid behind another, and I have a few examples here. You might want to go this route. I've had students do this before. Now, these are not series. You're doing a series where you could do a metamorphosis. So I want you to think about this sculpture right here in the lower left corner. It is a metamorphosis. It's a young lady, appears to be a young lady, it could be a young man, that is transforming into some sort of a plant, okay? Think about doing that in a series of 6, okay? As opposed to having just that one sculpture. You could start off with that sculpture of a woman and just slowly show her evolving or metamorphosizing into a plant. Same thing with this one. Now this one here, I actually did one in college that was similar to this. I did it in, I threw it with a wheel. It was thrown pottery on a potter's wheel, and then I did 6 vessels and they were all the same. And then what happened was it was a series. This image started to come out of the pot. It started to break out, And what it was this large bird. And by the time we got to the very end, it was fully outside the pot. So here's another one I just thought was really cool. When I was doing the search this morning, in hopes to help you guys out as far as what you can do with an abstraction, I came across this and just thought it was really cool. Another direction that you might want to go is cubism. It was actually the birth of cubism that the three-dimensional productions started to celebrate an original format and vocation. And basically what you had was the breaking down of basic shapes and making them geometrical, flattening surfaces, fragmentation. Basically what that means is that you're taking, and we're going to do a cubist sculpture later on, but you're taking, let's say you're doing a guitar, and you're breaking that up into different pieces and then reassembling it. So that's a route you can go as well. Here are a couple examples of cubist sculpture. This one on the right-hand side, and I'm going to show you another one here in just a minute. Basically, what they do is using multiple perspectives in one image. So imagine this couple is intertwined, and there's a photograph of them from the ground level, there's a photograph of them from above, there's a photograph from the other side, and then you combine that into a sculpture showing multiple perspectives of the same object. And again, this one here is very similar to that, this one right here. Okay, so that is the presentation I wanted to show you guys today. And then this is the video on working with plasticine. This is basically a do and don't. What I've had people do before is they use this plasticine, they almost use it like a drawing medium. And they make some simple shape and then they just draw into it. And it really looks sloppy. It's really not three-dimensional. So hopefully this will help you guys out. So let me go ahead and run this, and then that'll be it.
Hello class, I just wanted to go over a couple of things in working with your plasticine. What happened, I remember some things from last year and I thought that this might help you guys out. Whenever you're including a texture or anything in plasticine, a lot of times what people will do is we'll just draw, let's say we're doing cracks or something like that. A lot of times what people will do is just draw right into it, and your medium is no longer a three-dimensional media, it's almost a two-dimensional media. You're using it for drawing. What you need to do is really enhance this texture by doing a little bit more work with it. Let's say we're doing some work with the cracks here, as opposed to just having this line. Also, notice these little, I'll get it even closer here, these little pieces that are kind of hanging out. That's sloppy. We want to clean that up a little bit. So one thing that I'm going to do is just come in here. It takes a little bit more time, but it does really enhance your work. Same thing on this side, and sometimes you don't need to be that steep. So as opposed to just drawing on the plasticine, I guess basically that's what I'm getting to, and that is my point. You're just not making a shape and then just drawing on the plasticine. You really need to include the textures. During class today, I'm also going to show you a couple of images of sculptures where they really worked on a texture. It takes a little bit extra. Here's an example here. Let's say we want to do curves or lump. We want to show like a form here. Again, I've had students before, well, let's say they're doing some sort of a fruit or a vegetable. They'll just cut into it and draw into it. Again, that's sloppy and it's careless. What you want to do here is actually mold and form. We're working in the 3 dimensions, so we actually want to include that texture. What does that texture look like? What does that texture feel like? So you want to come in and do a little bit more work just to clean it up some, okay? And then you can come in with your fingers, because they tend to smooth the plasticine out, sometimes even better than a clay tool. And then if I really want to get some more texture into it, I can just add a little bit like that. Now, as far as the tools, you can use a plastic forks work well, plastic knives. A lot of times, anything that's, has a little bit of shape to it where you can get some points in there, okay? Some sharper points. Hopefully this helps.
Okay, so guys, that just about covers it. And again, this is, let's get to Sculpture. This is your home page. And again, keep an eye on your due dates. Like I said, I'll probably move that back to Thursday. I want to make sure that you guys have enough time to do it well. One last thing, too, that I did want to go over is the fact that you guys, what you want to do during a class day, be it asynchronous or synchronous, at 9:43, our sculpture class starts. So, an example, tomorrow or even Monday when we're asynchronous at 9:43, you're in my class. So at that time, you want to be working on your sculptures, and you want to work on them until 10:28 when class ends. Okay, make sure that you're sticking with that schedule. If you don't, you're going to find yourself getting in a jam and getting behind. Okay? Email me with any questions or concerns you may have. You guys have a good weekend.